Okay, ready, Heather, are we ready? Are we,
All the way back.
are we good? 6:02, we are on. I know. I'm ready to roll. Ready to roll?
Yep.
All right. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here or tuning in if you're online. Before I start the meeting, I always ask everyone to please silence your cell phone. Just take a second to look down and see if your cell phone is on or not. Just like to make sure we can pay attention during presentations and to the public that's here to speak and to the deliberations of council as we handle town business without interruptions or distractions. Thank you very much for checking that out for us. With that, I will call to order the regular town council meeting Wednesday, October 16th at 6 o'clock. I have up at that clock. I have 4 different clocks. They all say 5 different times. As we begin our meeting, we start with a moment of silence. Please join me and stand for a moment of silence, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next up is a roll call members. I see Mr. Allison coming in, so I'm going to say we're all present at this time. Additions to the agenda, I don't have anything. Do we have an approval of the agenda as written?
So
moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? On the consent agenda, do we have anything for the consent agenda today? Nothing. All right, we're moving right on. Council member liaison and commission reports, and I will start with Mr. Wood.
Good evening, everyone. We had a very successful bike week. Congratulations to our public works. The place looked great. Fully stocked with TP the entire while. Thank you so much for that. I also want to thank our police department, and I don't want to steal any Councilman Brown's thunder, but thanks for keeping us safe. It was pretty much an event-free weekend, so thank you for that. Most of the information that when we go over, we have presentations by our town manager and also our representatives from Bowdoin. So they're going to bring you up on sidewalks and what's going on with the plant. I do want to let everybody know that the Environmental Protection Agency requested all the communities in the United States to undergo a record review of information pertaining to service for both town and residentially owned water systems. All communities must complete and submit an initial inventory. Public Works have been working with this inventory for the past 3 months, and we're pretty close to submitting our initial report. So short and sweet tonight. Thank you.
Councilmember Wood.
All right, good evening, everybody. Just a few things. Let's see, there hasn't been a planning commission meeting. They actually canceled their meeting for October since we had a joint meeting last month, and plus they didn't have a quorum. For the Board of Zoning Appeals, I didn't realize it until I got a text message from a constituent last night that there was actually a Board of Zoning Appeals here last night. I looked around on the town's website to see if I missed something or communication email. I didn't have any communication at all, so I had no clue what was going on. So thank God they recorded it so I could at least go back and look at it. There was something that got passed, so hopefully people don't have heartburn in town over this, but basically a homeowner, I believe it was on H Street, requested to be able to use the shipping container as a accessory dwelling apartment in their backyard. And after a lengthy discussion, from what I gathered from the video, the main concern weren't about whether we allow shipping containers in town, because I know this is just a variance for one person, but I'm not sure how you can just allow one person to put a container in the backyard and not multiple people in town requesting a variance. But anyway, it was approved unanimously, and their main concerns. And that was, let's see, I'm trying to think what else they had. I believe the main thing was the setbacks, and that was approved, like I said, approved unanimously. And there was also a second agenda item, and that was a person that was requesting a variance for a fence. They wanted their fence a little bit taller than was normally allowed towards the front of their house, because there was a camper parked in the yard next door. I gathered that there was some suspicion that camper was either being lived in or was being used pretty frequently because of the noise from the air conditioner. Well, that's one thing I would not maybe tonight, but in the future, for the town to clarify, is RV camping allowed on a residential property in town? And if so, is there a limit to the amount of time that somebody can have a camper fully functioning with air conditioning, people living in their yard? So I'm not sure if that would be something to request the town manager or town attorney, but I personally would like to know that. Multiple constituents ask. And then the Kelowna Beach Redevelopment Housing Authority meeting for this month has been canceled. And then also I'd like to clarify, in the last meeting, we had our session with the Planning Commission that was stated that the comments from council weren't provided to the Planning Commission. So I went back, because I was concerned that statement was made multiple times. So I went back and listened to the meeting. I provided the minutes or the comments to the Planning Commission chair. I handed them to her in paper and also email, and I read them out loud to the Planning Commission members and offered to hand them to them in person. So I definitely did not fall asleep on the job. Take pride in making sure that I do everything I'm supposed to, even though I'm busy with a full-time career. So just wanted to put the record on that. And I think that's about it. I know we're going to talk a little bit more about the CIP later, but I would urge the town council to try to get this passed as soon as possible so that the Planning Commission can work on the next year's CIP. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Ms. Robinson?
I have just a couple of things. There is no sip and stroll in the near future, meaning this week. And we have Beach to Beer on October 19th. And other things will come under the police department. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Gonzalez?
So I attended the school board meeting last week. Everybody was very happy with the homecoming celebrations, ribbon cutting, and new concession. One of the things that I have been focusing on in a short time as liaison with the school is trying to increase the communication between the school and the community, and particularly between the school and the town council as a body, especially regarding budget, because there seems to be a lot of misinformation out there about the budget. And so I asked Dr. Addo to spend a little more time explaining exactly how that works, and he's agreed to do that. He's also agreed to meet with the town council members if they want a one-on-one explanation regarding that budget. A couple of highlights: they did a resolution to increase their budget due to the changes in ADM from the 23-24 budget. are considering a partnership with iTeach for Alternative Teacher Certification Program, and this is really exciting because community members that are interested in becoming a certified teacher will be able to do so without enrolling in university. So it's a lot less expensive program. It's an opportunity, for example, if we're recruiting people to come work here and their spouse needs a job, for them to get certified to teach in our school system. If you're interested or just interested in getting out of your changing jobs and becoming a teacher, this program is going to be a really great opportunity. And that will, they'll vote on that next meeting. They also looked at the draft of the new cell phone policy that's being required per governor's executive order. So they have drafted one that's specific to our Colonial Beach Public School System. They approved the 24-25 staff handbook, and they approved a new and improved Drifter Club after-school program. And I put on the seats out there for a few of you. This is, if you're interested in the school system at all, and you want the details, and you don't want to come sit through another meeting for the school board meeting to listen to those reports in person, this website, go.boarddocs.com, and then the extended part takes you directly to our board docs. I highly encourage you to look at that, and so that you can see all the details of what's going on in our school system. They are doing an incredible job with our school system, and I just would love for more community members to be able to understand how hard they're working and the accomplishments that they're making.
Ms. Brown?
Good evening. Just a few things from the public safety report. First of all, Chief, I know that you always have accolades from council, but I'm going to say, saw you and all the troops out this weekend. It was great. And I love our young officers because they're kind of like really fun and into it and cool and have a lot of personality. And it's been a privilege of mine to be able to become friends, if you will, with them. They're super, super good kids and cops. So thank you for that, and thank you for our law enforcement partners who helped us to include folks in the Northern Neck. Even I know Warsaw was up here, Virginia State Police, Westmoreland. Thank you to the fire department, all first responders. It was a great event with no issues. National Night Out will be Tuesday, October 29th from 5 to 8 p.m. on Town Hill. Please come out for that. Kid friendly, you can wear a costume. And then trunk or treats at the school on October 26th. And I hear the fire department will be there. So yeah, lots of good things. Thank you so much.
Mr. Alvin?
Good evening, everybody. For my liaison report for finance, most of y'all probably know that your personal property taxes have been sent out. So those are always great to have. Also, our financial quarter report will be up next with our town manager update. So I'll let them discuss that. Thank you.
All right, I have a few things to go over.
I'm sorry. I don't think anyone else, could you just remind people about the Fall Festival? I don't think it was reminded by anyone else on council coming up.
You want to go ahead and remind?
So Fall Festival is October the 26th. It's on Town Hill. It includes a costume contest for kids. They do pumpkin art, lots of different things going on the Town Hill for the kids. There's also a pet parade, and then it concludes with our annual Halloween golf cart parade. And if you've never participated or seen that, oh my gosh, there are some real outrageous golf carts that people spend much time on that. So I would encourage everyone to participate in that before you go to trunk or treat at the high school.
It's going to be a busy. Okay, so we have a few more updates. Relations to the Buds and Queen Beach Brewing, who, although both businesses have existed in town for quite some time, neither one had actually had a ribbon cutting when they started. And so as they've now combined into this dual purpose of the same building with an opportunity to sort of celebrate and renewed business style for them. And so I was at that ribbon cutting, and I'm very excited about the venture. Also attended the Women's Business Network meeting this morning. If you don't know the Women's Business Network, interviewed all the candidates for council. I asked 10 questions of every single candidate, council, and mayor, and the video is on their website. They also highlight all women business owners that are part of the network on their website. So if you're ever looking for, some resources of maybe a local business to use, I suggest you can go check out their website. It's got a lot of good information. I was also invited to attend an event at Breeze Line in King George with Congressman Whitman. There were several localities there, and we toured the facility in King George, the hub, Breeze Line hub there, where they're implementing new fiber technology, upgrading many different parts of their technology within that facility, and learned how the new splicing techniques are happening. As you know, All Points Broadband, Breeze Line, and several other agencies are extending internet service out into rural districts in Virginia, specifically a trunk line down the northern neck. And we have more on internet to come later, very strong like that. Main Street application was turned in last Thursday by our Downtown Columbia Beach group. This is very exciting. It's something we've been working towards for over a decade. We have on tonight a vote of support for the designation. Later, the application was submitted by the deadline, but hopefully we will also continue to show our support for that. DHCD, the Department of Housing and Community Development, was one of the highlight features at the Virginia Municipal League Conference that I spent the whole weekend attending after doing a welcome for Bike Fest and some of those events. Then I headed down there for that. There's a lot of very interesting things going on across the state. I would just say I brought back so much information and sort of oversaturating, but some of it includes some very important infrastructure funds that are going to be available in 2025 to complement items in our CIP, which is very important, and access to those funds and other webinars through the National League of Cities that we're going to have free connections to bolster our ability to access that money. I also attended a very important breakout session on affordable housing and some of the very interesting ways that other localities are tackling affordable housing in the Commonwealth. And so more to come on that. It's a little bit on everything from first responders to supporting the police department to community service boards, behavioral health, money from opioid crisis to just about anything you can possibly imagine in that conference. And so I won't regurgitate it all right now, but lots of good things to bring back to council after that. I want to really give a shout out to the Chamber of Commerce for Bike Fest though. Everything ran smoothly several times and I just was really thought it was a great event. Everybody seemed to have a good time. I know we had an accident, I think, outside of town that was very serious. So we do hope to improve safety, I think, because
There was one in town too.
there was one
There
in
was
town
one
too.
in McDonald's as well as the one at Halls.
Two in town. So that was confusing. I was getting different reports from different people about that one. But I think safety awareness is good and we can continue to bolster that. But for 10 years and the weather being as phenomenal it was and there were many bikes in town, overall seemed to be a great success. The EDC also met last week. They reviewed their goals and objectives for the year as their year transitioned, their year for leadership transitioned the last month. So more to come from the EDC as they move forward on the goals and objectives. And I think that's it from me right now. I'm sure I'm getting more things, but we'll move forward to the town manager update.
Good evening, everyone. So our town manager update is going to consist of the financial quarterly report, followed by the public safety quarterly report, followed by the sewer plant update from Bowdoin. And then I will introduce a deputy director of public works. I'll give some updates And then we will go on to just an update of some of the grants that we've compiled to date. So with that, we'll go ahead and start with our Finance Director, Lisa, with our financial quarterly report.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. The first quarter of fiscal 25's report. Go to the next page. We're going to start with the general fund, revenue and expenditures. This is our first quarter totals, 2.1 million in revenue, 3.5 million expenditures. Next slide will show the breakdown. I just want to make our revenue comes in different times of the year. Mostly you'll see our big revenue come in when the personal property and real estate are due. And the next slide is our sewer. We brought in $764,000 and spent $685,000. Slide show the breakdown. And we are pretty much right on track with our revenue and expenditure projections for sewer. Water, we brought in $304,000 and we spent $534,000. But a lot of that was debt service. That was a one-time payment that had been made. You won't see another significant debt service in that one this year. Last slide is the ARPA update. You can see we've received what we received. Total expenditure, the remaining balance is $151,537.46. And I just put a note on there that we still owe the $285,110.31 for the final payment for the central, which actually came in and we're making today. I do want to point out just a few things. We are showing shortfall just by looking at first quarter numbers in our overtime, both in the I believe sewer and police and public works. Possibility that we are going to be very short in an overtime funding. That's our biggest one. There were a few that are a little bit over, but hopefully we can make up some other shortfalls throughout the year. My big concern. Is there any questions?
Yeah, in regard to the overtime, to what we attribute the need to
Well,
create that sort of.
when we were doing the budget, a lot of things were cut. Had some significant water sewer issues where those crews had to be out and working. And of course, they always fall in when working hours. So that causes overtime. And the PD, part of that is the loss of Miss Officer Captain Labrania. Some people had to fill in and do some extra work in the PD. They're causing the overtime to go up.
Are there any ways we can be a little more predictive of what our overtime needs are going to be? Because things are never going to go absolutely smoothly, I'm assuming. Is there any way we can be predictive and our next budget so that we're not running into those issues?
Oh, we do try. I mean, we look at the trend. We look at the last 5 years based on what was needed in the last 5 years. Like things happen we can't predict, and overtime, especially in the works department, is one of them. Emergencies happen, they've got to respond. So all we can do is make a prediction. It's a bit, we try to get as close as possible. Really, the sewer's the worst. The sewer is a big one, and then we've had a couple of bad incidents where the sewer crews had to be out. But hopefully we can, as the year goes through.
How,
We can hopefully get some, maybe if we have some excess revenue come in that we weren't expecting, that's one way.
When we're using overtime to fill for a vacant position, though, also that was budgeted as full-time salary and not in part-time
Yeah, so we
salary.
can,
Their
depending
line
on
items
if,
were read. Yes, Ms. Williams.
Yeah, I just got a question. I remember in a prior budget meeting, final numbers, schools and all that. And you stated that we won't have those numbers until well into the fall. Do we have a final numbers, like all the items? No, for the full budget.
Audit. Like the final.
we're currently, the auditors are currently performing the audit now.
Okay.
So we don't have final numbers for fiscal '24 yet.
When we estimate that to be.
Well, they're here, and it usually takes them 4 weeks to get a final draft to us. Then it has to be reviewed, and anything that I might catch. And they should be producing something before Thanksgiving.
More question, maybe this is for the town clerk, I'm not sure, but I've looked on, a constituent asked for a copy of the budget, so I went to look for it in budget, but do we have the final budget on the town?
I don't know if it's on the town's website. I assume it had been posted on the town website.
I don't
But if it's not, I can work with Heather.
Can you go back to the first page where you show the total budget? That had the total budget, 10 million. Yeah. There you go. Okay, so that general fund does not include the water fund or the sewer fund, correct?
No, it does not.
So this is our total budget excluding those independent funds,
Correct.
right? Okay, and if we go to the water and sewer, whichever one. So the sewer comes up first, so the overtime is, will that be allocated to this fund if it's?
Sewer overtime comes out of the sewer's budget. It doesn't come out of the general fund.
It comes out of, okay, but the police comes out of the
Yeah.
general fund. Okay, so we've got $10 million budget plus a $3 million sewer fund that is supposed to be break even based on what we charge for water and for our sewer, right?
Correct.
And so the water fund is $1.3 million, again, additionally, and that is based on balance to what we charge for water.
Correct.
So if we're short because of overtime, is it a possibility that we would be looking at raising rates to cover that?
That's always a possibility.
Okay. And just to clarify, when council directed staff to go back through that budget with a fine tooth comb so that we could keep rates the same and not increase anything, that's when what had been budgeted for overtime was slashed in order to get a balanced budget, is that correct?
Yes, pretty much every line was cut at a percent,
Okay.
unless we had a contract. You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Yes.
I want to clarify, water and sewer, we raised the rates, so there should be enough funds in there to cover.
We did, but again, can't predict when we're gonna have a major sewer break or a water break, and that has driven the overtime up already in the first quarter. So if you're looking at the total budget for the year, and you've already reached 50% budget for overtime, in the first quarter, there's a possibility that you're going to need money.
Okay, yeah, I was just confused because you said slash in the budget, and I'm thinking to myself, they raised the water and sewer, rates, so that wasn't slashed. Okay.
We did raise them and mostly cover some of the expenditures that we have to do for water and sewer.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it was a balance. We both, as possible, and then, so raise rates any higher than absolutely necessary.
Exactly.
Right, so it was both. It's not just one way. And then for the general fund, is the school fund already taken out?
The appropriation to the one half has, yes.
Half of it has. So that is the biggest expenditure that we have in our budget. So when you see the expenditure in the first quarter, a big part of that is the tranche of the school.
Yeah, $1.5 million to
That's
this.
great. Okay. All right. I think, Chief, you're up next.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. I'm here to present the third quarter statistics for public safety. If I could go to the next slide, please. This is our mission statement, one of the, we work very hard to live up to that and improve on that every day. Next
Can you
slide, please.
speak directly into the mic or bring it closer to you?
Sorry, is that better?
Yeah, it's much better, thank you. These mics are very directional, so if you're going point at it, then it doesn't take.
And next slide, please. Okay, so during this quarter, this is July to September 2024, we had a total of 3,244 total calls for service. We took 101 reports, conducted 453 traffic stops, 10 traffic collisions, and made 6. Next slide, please. This is for the offenses, and this isn't a comprehensive list. There's actually a couple other classifications of offenses. It's kind of they're general. I didn't have them listed here because it skews the statistics that you have in front of you. But the major issues that we had, if you look, is number 13B is the one faults. The 23H is for larcenies or thefts. The 26A is for that's for false pretenses or frauds. And then the 290, which is the tallest column on the right, those are for vandalism calls. And again, for general offenses we had that weren't categorized in or didn't fall into one of these categories, we had 37, and information reports, we had 34. Next slide.
People who are tall on the left is 8, the middle one is 7, and then 4, and then 7.
Yes, ma'am.
It's just, I know you can't read the numbers over there.
The next one, the next slide is going to have the breakdown of the arrests. The two largest columns there, the one on the left is going to be for drug or narcotics violations. And the larger column on the right is for driving while under the influence. We had 13 arrests for that. Next. Thank you. This slide shows the offense trends for days of the week, broken down by days of the week. For this quarter, the 2 days that were the highest volume were Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think part of that is part of the reason for that is we typically see a higher volume of calls on Friday and Saturday, but we've been staffing heavier on those days. So that's, I believe, is one of the contributing factors to that we're seeing on the offenses over the weekend. Next slide, please. This shows the fence trends per hour. And the last three are going to be basically from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night. So we have a kind of a during the daytime hours, and then a step up during the evening hours. And trying to staff heavier during the evening hours too, to try to combat that. Next one. I added this slide because we had concluded our parking enforcement time. And so this is not a quarterly report, this is an annual report. As you know, parking enforcement begins on April 1st and ends on September 30th. And this shows basically what the volume of parking citations that were issued during that time. Obviously, the June and July area, the big spikes. Next slide, please. Actually, and one more. This is.
Can I ask, do your officers have to go to court for parking, or are they just paid?
They can, people can challenge those, they can contest those, but on.
Pay the
Well, and there's a number of circumstances we can resolve that in-house. If the people call and we talk about it, and we can usually work something out.
I know that's a huge part of their officers' time is court. And
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
why I was asking.
Yes, and we try to avoid that, especially with parking citations. We try to avoid that as much as we can.
Thank you.
The Colonial Beach Volunteer Fire Company, what their activities were, they responded during this third quarter, they responded to 132 calls, fire calls, 26 motor vehicle accidents, 56 EMS calls, 13 public service calls. They served a total of 343.85 man hours of was just shy of 4. This is going to be our first slide for energy services, and they responded to a total of 238 medical calls in their response time to this was 81 minutes, and they transported a total of 171, and again, that was across Westmoreland and Colonial Beach. The total have not been reported as of yet. Advised that the statistics for September will not be available to mid-October. And that concludes my report, unless there are questions.
All right, so voted.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we'll give the utility report, if you can go to the next piece. You know, we had a real good month at the wastewater plant. We met all of our general permit limits. We are still struggling with nitrifying and getting our nitrates down, but you know, as you all know, we will continue to do that until we can fix the equipment on site to this field. What you see here is, of course, the flow rates. You know, you can see that obviously when it rains there wasn't a whole lot of rain compared to March, but on our average daily flows, you know, we had a fairly decent month, you know, 436,000 gallons per day on average what we had there. We had the influent meter working there for the headworks where it was bypassed before, so that's why you see the big increase in flow from August to September. Effluent flow meter still malfunctioning. We do have people scheduled to come in and, you know, look at the meters and get those they're also working in conjunction with the folks that are looking at the state issues and the power issues that we're having. Next page, please. Like I said before, we've met all of our needs. Everything there is well under the average where it needs to be. BOD, ammonia, going there, please. Everything looking real good there. Intercom is good. You know, you have a little spike from time to time. Typically that corresponds with a rain event. The fecal coliform, we had one day where it went up, but that was off of an average. You don't get deemed for a one-off high result there. So our average is well under where it needs to be. So the plant is performing well during the circumstances. Going down, please. This is where we start getting into our nitrogen from not being able to denitrify and having failed mixers. You know, so our EQ-based zones are short circuiting. The sand filters, denitrification sand filters are still on the list to be repaired. Total phosphorus well under what our average for the year is. And next page. So I usually don't get to dwell too far into the operational notes, just kind of the things that we dealt with throughout the month, the failures, different tasks that were completed, things that were repaired. One thing I want to bring to the attention there is we're still having a lot of communication faults with the PLC, the SCADA. We had the power company come in, put phase monitors on to try to capture what's causing these issues. What we're to resolve what's causing the glitches in the PLC. And, you know, to dive into that a little bit more, you know, you have different discussions and comments about really what the value of having in these electrical failures is what really overflows and the 4th of July incidents. And, you know, those were one-time failures that are dealing with this on a regular basis. We're not overflows, we're not having any discharges, the water is still clean. So there is where your difference is between having us operated versus what you were doing before. And we're not having any overflows. It makes it a lot safer. So overall, everybody, my operators, my staff is doing a great job at the facilities and keeping them operating. So, does anybody have any questions?
It's the best month of data I've seen so far.
That's not bad, is it?
Yeah. I was gonna give you that boy first of all. The other thing I wanted to make sure ask of the town manager. These reports, your last report is on the website now, is it not, on the town website? And we're releasing this every week, every month. You have questions about the quality of what they is doing, you can go on site and read those things real time. The importance of that is that I've seen people miscommunicate some things. And so you can go direct to the horse's mouth and find out exactly what's going on. So again, congratulations on that, and let's keep going.
Thanks, sir. Will do.
Quick question. I know we've discussed this in the past. When you guys first came, and started the contract, we were told for the first few months you'd be 24-hour operation and then go 18.
Correct.
But I think in the last meeting you said you're still at 24. Is that correct?
We are still at 24 hours, and we will be unable to reduce those hours until we get these electrical issues resolved. Because one problem that we would being diligent when we had these failures, you would be having overflows. So by them being on site 24 hours a day, they're able to get a hold of these problems before, you know, the sewage gets thrown.
Okay. And is that one of your highest priorities?
I would
For
love
repairs?
I would love to get us off of 24 hours, but that's also why we're trying to work money to be able to make these repairs.
Okay.
Any other question? Okay.
Thank you.
Before we move, can I introduce a very special person in the room? Oh, you're gonna do it? Sorry.
And before I make the introduction, I just want to items. The 7 Q letters that the town received regarding monetary assessments that were levied against the town. Want to report that we have sent a letter out to DEQ and on the 10th of the month, and we requested relief from the 2023 monetary assessment, potential monetary assessments for 2024. We'll also send an additional letter asking for reallocation of some of the grant funding that we have left over to be able to address these issues. Also want to report the ADA sidewalk compliance letter that we received from VH. We are finalizing our report to lie with that. And so by the end of the week, I will have a finalized letter to send over to VDOT or VDH. VDOT. Those 8 sidewalks that were identified in the ADA letter. And now I have the absolute pleasure of introducing our newest addition to our staff, Deputy Director of Public Works, Bobby Stahl. A little bit from his bio, and then I'm going to ask Mr. Stahl to just tell us a little bit about himself. Bobby Stahl is a seasoned manager with over 30 years of experience in the public works, utility, and construction industry. Bobby spent the last 16 years as the Director of Operations for the town of La Plata, Maryland, where he headed public works and utilities. Prior to La Plata, Bobby was the Associate Vice President, Operations at the University of Maryland Global Campus and the Director of Land and Risk Management for Cheney Enterprises. Bobby is especially proud